Hi, I'm Dr. Jennifer V. Brown, your stroke specialist who's aging gracefully with stroke due to sickle cell disease. And today we're going to discuss why squatting is good for walking. So when you squat, some things happen that simulates or is related to what you would do during walking. So before you stand up and then you take a step to walk, you assume a squatting position right after liftoff. And liftoff is when your buttocks and thigh leaves the seat. Look how your hamstring is activated. And with this AFO on with a tension strap, look how my leg is able to move forward. Most people who have an AFO with a rigid strap, their tibia cannot move forward, therefore they cannot assume squat. Their buttock stays behind on that side, making their gluteus maximus weak, their hamstrings weak, their quadriceps weak, their calf muscle weak, the lateral muscles on the outside of their leg is weak, and the anterior tibialis, which is so important that you need to raise your foot up. That's why you're wearing the AFO. But putting that rigid strap on and limiting the leg from coming forward is detrimental to all of these muscle groups. When you lower into a squat position, that motion is similar to when you put your foot on the ground, your foot goes down, and your knee comes forward. That's loading response. And also, you need this loading response action when you want to assume half kneeling, which is so important for lowering yourself down to the floor or getting up from the floor. Let's watch this video. See how the knee comes forward towards the toes? That is what happens in loading response. So I like to do squatting, which requires eccentric muscle activity of your buttock, your thigh, particularly your quads, but your hamstrings proximally, and your calf muscles. All of those muscles work eccentrically. So I do squatting with the feet underneath the hips aligned with the shoulders. And then I put a ball or something narrow in between the feet and bring the feet in, and I allow for squatting. That's a narrow base of support. That's what the BOS stands for. And then I put the hemi leg in weight bearing, and I move the stronger leg out to the side. That's abduction. All right. And then I do that while in a squat position. So they start off in the squat position and they have to move the stronger leg out to the side. Now I do the hemi leg, but they tend to have a harder time bending the hip and the knee more when it's already in a bent position. So I let them slide that leg out and then bring it back in. But I make them pick up the stronger leg to increase that load in a flex or bent position, making those muscles stronger. I maintain a squat position while the person is picking up items of different heights on and off the floor. Notice there's a door stopper at the lateral part of the heel. I do that to make the heel move more in and out. I really want the heel to turn out more because the posterior tibialis muscle is either tight or has tone in it, and it's causing the heel to turn in. So when you weight shift forwards and backwards and side to side, moving these objects, it creates movement in the hind foot, which is really important for mobility when it comes for the tibia moving forward. That tibia internally rotates and the foot goes into pronation. So that hind foot has to move from being in to neutral to a little bit turned out, just a little bit. And I also do the squatting in that reaching activities with the foot in stride. And I put the hemi leg in the back to load it more in preparing for terminal stance and push off. But the push off only happens after the knee is straight and they have rolled over their toes and the knee passively bends. All right. So these are some activities you can do to facilitate eccentric muscle strengthening of the gluteus maximus, the quadriceps, proximal hamstrings, and the calf muscles. So these are some clinical questions to ask. Is there adequate closed chain dorsiflexion, knee flexion, and hip flexion to assume the squatting position? Second, is there adequate eccentric muscle strength of the gluteus maximus, the quadriceps, and the calf muscles? And don't forget about the proximal hamstrings that works with the glute maximus. And are there any proprioceptive deficits or other sensory related issues that they cannot assume this position and hold it in place? Remember, I am your trusted source for all things ankle foot orthoses and stroke neurorehabilitation. Use the QR code and go to my website to find out more about my book. It tells you what you need to examine so that you can get the best fitting and functioning ankle foot orthoses for your individuals with hemiplegia due to stroke or any other neurodiagnoses. And when you go to the website, email me. I will respond back. The book is on sale. And don't forget about your references. We really have to look at the evidence so that we can optimize the outcomes for our clients. Thank you for listening to this video. See you next time. Bye-bye.